let's do a production and arrangement walkthrough. This song is called Use Me Like You Do by a band that goes by the name of Current Swell. They're from Victoria Island in Canada, who made the record in Vancouver. I'm going to play you the whole song, and then I will kind of peel back some of the layers of this onion and show you what some of the sounds are and some of the underlying arrangement techniques and just decisions that are made. So it's going to span instrument choices, instrument arrangement, production things, and some sonic things. Let's listen to the whole song first.
I remember the look when you turned to me. I don't think you understand, there's a reason I'm on my knees. All the time that I got, I'm gonna give to you. And I don't mind when you use me like you do. Yeah, come on. Yeah, take it away. You take me where you go. Do you use me like you do? Maybe it's the way I behave makes it hard to see. Every time, every place, can't you see you're the air I breathe? All the time that I got, I'm gonna give to you. And I don't mind when you use me like you do. Oh, come on. Yeah, take it away. You take me where you go. Do you use me like you do? Yeah, take it away. Take me where you go. Do you use me like you do? I believe that I wouldn't do to you like you done to me. Yeah. Yeah, take it away and take me where you go. Do you use me like you do? Yeah, take it away, take me where you go. Do you use me like you do? You use me like you do. Do you use me like you do? You use me.
Awesome. Fun tune. I loved working on this record. Yeah, it's a very cool tune. So, let me just talk to you a little bit about the mindset of the way I approach some things on here. This is a four-piece band, drums, bass, two guitars. There's two singers in the group. They sing backup for each other, take turns on lead vocals. This is Scott's song. Dave is the other singer in the band. And he has some awesome tunes on the album as well. So let's see. Let's just talk about the beginning. It starts with this electric guitar part. I'll just kind of open things up a little bit here. Starts with this electric guitar part here. And to me, it just kind of has a very spooky atmosphere. And, in thinking about it, opening up a song that sort of develops the way this does, with very bombastic and driving drums, but there's also a very cool ambience to the drums, especially in the verses, that just want to create a lot of atmosphere in the beginning. That's where there's a nice reverb on this guitar. Got a little bit of delay going on to it. But in kind of setting up the atmosphere of the song and what the drums are going to do, there's some programming early on. It's very subtle. It really lets the focus of the intro be very much about the guitar, but holding off the drums until the verse kicks in, and let the intro be mostly about the guitar and holding off on the drums. Introduce some very subtle programming sounds halfway through the intro to just sort of introduce the idea of some rhythm and the feeling of drums before the drums actually kick in. Also, the reverse drum sets up an idea that happens throughout the development of the song. There's a lot, as the song develops, there's a lot of starts and stops in transitions, and in the last chorus, everybody stops as a band, and just to kind of keep changing the dynamic and rhythm of things, and building the excitement, but getting to something early on in the arrangement where this sort of reverse idea happens is very much a part of the feel of the song, and also setting it up. Another thing in terms of creating atmosphere is the bass. So we have this bass sound. And playing these whole notes over the chord changes makes it very ominous, gives the track weight, but it's not. We're saving the busier bass pattern and rhythm for the chorus. There's a melody that the bass player plays in the verse. It's a very cool part. That part is what gave me the idea to do the Lesley effect as a double for the bass. So what I set up and had Ghosty is the bass player's. He goes by that handle, that name. What I wanted, I really wanted to accentuate that melodic line in the verse, and so it gave me the idea of something that I've used in the past, is to record the bass through a Lesley. But I ended up had Ghosty double the whole song. I'll play it for you on the whole notes. And with that vibrato and that warble and that stereo space, and this comes halfway through the intro, I'm reinforcing the vibe in the space, the interest. It's just like, it's just kind of a cool effect. But what really happens where the Lesley overdub really, really shines is on this melodic line. So let's listen to the track again, and I'll mute the Lesley.
I remember the look when you turned to me.
So it adds a little weight and a little dimension to the bass, but it's not as overt of an effect until we get to this line. So we'll hear it without that first.
Reason I'm on my knees all the time, all the time.
And that part is really, it's really meant to be a feature there because it's been given the space to exist, because everything kind of stays constant. The guitar is on its vibe and kind of trucking along. Drums, Scott takes a break from the lyrics. So let's hear it with the Lesley effect in there, doubling.
Reason I'm on my knees all the time that
It's a brief little moment, but it's one of my favorite things. I mean, there's a lot of cool things that happen in the song, but it's one of my favorite moments of like sonics in the song. And so, that's just a little bit of that and insight into that and why I decided to do that. It plays the whole song. It literally doubles the bass part for the whole song. Let's just check out what it's doing in the chorus. We'll go to the second chorus. It's fun. The bass feels lifeless by comparison without it. It's a really, really cool effect. Some other things to sort of talk about. Let's talk about how the programming develops, sets up the drums, reinforces the spooky vibe I'm going for in presenting the song, and then as the drums kick into the chorus, there's some heavier elements that we'll hear. Now, what's interesting about the approach to all these layers of programming and that we see here, and all these, and which this also this stuff, all these pads and keyboards here. There's quite a lot of it, but it's not at the forefront. It very much feels like a four-piece band, but I will, as we sort of start to peel some more layers off of this, I will show you the weight and dimension that these elements that are not very present feeling. It's just like they're really kind of hard to point out individually and hear them in the way that they will sound like this when they're soloed up. But when they get turned off, you really notice the sort of the weight and the dimension of the drums and the rhythmic quality of the track really diminishes quite a bit. I think, honestly, I think we have a really cool sounding drum kit. But I think it's even cooler when you put this stuff in. Because the programming, the drumming is very sonically consistent. Like when he hits the snare drum, but we're able to push the feel around a little bit with the way that these percussion elements are arranged, that the sound changes on the 2 and the 4, and you've got these big open bass drum hits here. On the downbeats of every measure. They just kind of it's something that's tucked in there that's accentuating the space of the drums, the vibe of the drums, and carrying on from that initial sort of feeling that was set up in the introduction by this sort of spooky programming. Because the room sound that we have in the verse for the drums doesn't really change a whole lot to the chorus. Obviously the part changes, he's wailing on the cymbal, there's a different energy to it, but the way that the drums are balanced, it's a very ambient presentation of the drums. So to accentuate the feeling of space even more in the chorus, we've added this bass drum. So let's listen to the drums with and without this stuff now. We'll start here in the verse. Makes it more interesting. Let's hear the drums. It'll be easier if I do this. Let's hear the drums for a second again in the chorus without. So it just adds a nice weight. So let's listen to the whole song, and this bit here and here are what in the chorus give a lot. Well, there's also this. Just give a lot of space. Let's just start and I'll slowly turn these off. We'll just start the tune in the chorus again.
Take it away. Take me where you go. I know you use me like you do.
Sounds pretty cool without it. I think because I like the way the drum kit sounds, and it's a well. They're parts that work really well together, and it represents the song really well. But by adding these percussion elements and programming, it just gives it like this whole other level of dimension. Now, some of this, like these bass drums, was played. Much of this stuff is samples. Some of them organically derived, some of them from sound libraries, but there's quite a bit of it. And then as you can, well, we've cleaned this session up, so I can't really show you the playlist. But much of this would have been programmed as just loops for the whole song, and then as it's applied to the arrangement, kind of pick and choose where certain things happen. It's a little bit, and I don't necessarily recommend this in all cases, it's a little bit of a kitchen sink approach where you take the demo of the song, you prepare a lot of stuff as options to have, and it also just makes it more fun to track to. I mean, the drummer is hearing a lot of this stuff. I arranged it before we started recording, and the drummer is hearing that happening in his headphones. The band's hearing it while they're playing the song, because they're playing to a click. But you can also see where we've changed the tempo. The song starts at 123 beats per minute. We get to the chorus, it jumps up, which is something very natural that a band would do, and then it settles back down to the verse tempo. The introduction verse tempo kind of gets back down there, and then the next chorus we jump it up, but we jump it up even one more BPM, so to ramp up the excitement, and then that carries on through the rest of the song. A lot of the times, the way that I will derive some of these decisions in terms of tempo is I'll just have the band or the artist play the song on their own, and I will make notes. I'll be tapping out the tempo without them hearing a click, and just making observations about what they are naturally doing, and then sort of figuring out, if we're going to play to some programming, we're going to do this to click, how can we reflect the natural dynamic of the song? Because sometimes if this whole song were to be played at 123, we get to the chorus, I can't really demonstrate it for you, but the energy would feel flat compared to what feels natural. When the song went by, I mean, honestly, until I was reminded of looking at the timeline, I wasn't really thinking about the tempo changes. I was just thinking that this felt very natural and cool. Okay, so that's a little bit about the drums and the bass, the decision for this bass sound, how these sounds contribute to the development of the song, and you can see that what's going on in the verse is different from what's going on in the chorus. really further identifying and making the sections distinct. There are a couple elements from the verse that do happen in the bridge. Some things the bridge becomes kind of an amalgamation of what's been happening before. We overdubbed a cymbal crash here. And I don't know. Let's see. I'm not sure. Maybe just because. Let's see what's going on with the drums. A cymbal was hit, but I'm assuming that I felt like we just needed an extra bit of punch there, so we just overdubbed some cymbals. Almost always when I'm recording drums, at the end when we say, okay, we got the take, that's it, great, we got all the parts we need, I'll have the drummer stay put and say, okay, now go around all the drums. Give me a kick drum, give me a snare drum, give me the toms, because you never know when you might want to have a cymbal crash to add in. I don't remember if this is from that type of sampling or we had Chris play it. Chris is the drummer, had it play. He goes by Crispy. Had him play it after. And now let's see what the snare. We have the snare duplicate track here. Let's just see what that sound is. That sounds like one of our snare drums. So there again, that's something that we felt like in the pattern for the drums. I guess it wasn't played in the performance, and we decided we need it. I'm assuming that perhaps that's what happened. I could be wrong, but there you go. That would be an example of a way that it would be a good idea to have some single shot samples out here of your drum kit to be able to manage the drum part as you develop a song, because you realized you left something out, or maybe there was a part that you want to eliminate some things, and it wasn't somewhere else in the performance that you could copy and paste in, and then you could take your same sounds and you could program and manufacture and repair a small moment in the song to change the performance. Okay, let's take this a little bit further. So what we have here is we have Scott's guitar sound, and then this is adding in Dave's sound. I don't recall exactly why. I like to why does Dave have 3 tracks and Scott only has 1? If possible, I like to bus all my microphones for however many amps I'm doing down to as few tracks as possible. I'm not sure why that maybe didn't happen here. One of them, I will point out that you've got 2 amp tracks and 1 room track. So let's just hear. Oops, excuse me. Let's just listen to what the room track sounds like. And then you see this track here, what's going on. It's possibly a different sound. Here again, I don't remember. It's probably it might have been tracked as a different sound, but the reason to put it on a different track the way I have, I'm sure that these 2 things were one at some point, but they were separated out because the panning has changed, and the volume is slightly different, and there's also, I would imagine, perhaps a different treatment going on. No, it's the same EQ. Nothing particularly special, but by dividing it up, that does give you the option to sort of do some things, which I could do with automation. Perhaps I thought I was going to do like a different process with plugins or something, but That's kind of what's going on there. Similar thing here. This is split out as either because it was an overdub and this part was replaced in the instrumental, but it also does change panning and volume, and a little bit of the sound is different. It's approached differently for the different section of the song. And well, there's this last bit of this outro I want to talk about. There's something kind of cool and interesting that's going on there, but we'll get there. So that's kind of a little bit how the guitars are arranged. So let's now, all this keyboard stuff it's in there for atmosphere, but it's also in there to back up the guitars. So let's just quickly remind ourselves what the beginning of the song sounds like, and you'll hear this pad in there. Creating a little bit of that spooky underlying atmosphere. It's not very in focus, but when you turn it off, you really feel the presentation in space change. And then there's these pad hits.
I remember the look when you turned.
And they match Daver's entrance.
I remember the look.
So I'll turn those off and just sort of see how different the guitar feels.
I remember the look.
Versus having them in.
I remember the look when you.
Just makes the guitar feel just more alive and glues it into the arrangement and the sonic space that we're creating. Let's dig around in here and see what some other sounds are going on. What is this sub? I think this is probably a low bass thing. Just kind of playing the changes. It's helping support the bottom end of the bass. Here's a distorted Wurlitzer in the chorus.
Take me where you go. Do you use me like you do?
It's another one of those sounds that you don't. When I solo it up, it's kind of like, wow, I didn't hear that sound very distinctly. But when I turn it off, you miss the feeling of it. Let's see what else we got. Oh, we got these pianos. These pianos are playing a little bit off of what Dave is doing as a guitar part. It's kind of a little rhythmic counter melody type of thing that's inspired by what Dave has going on. Let's see. Let's dig around a little bit more in these sounds. And, it's the same kind of thing. It's different sounds for different sections, really letting the choruses kind of come up with their own stuff. That's like this paddy atmosphere goes away and is replaced. This sort of long, droning pad that's, right here, gives way to these more rhythmic, brighter elements on the piano. But then the sort of there's a frequency shift with this sub element that does a bit of a droning feel and kind of keeps the weight, but it drops even lower than this is kind of sort of like middle voicing tone. And then in the chorus you get this separation of high frequency, brighter, more melodic elements with the weight of the synthesizer. Let's see what this synth bass sounds like. adding that Wurlitzer in there. I'm very curious to sort of turn off these 3 elements and in the chorus and just sort of see the change. With them in, the bottom end is just more brooding and there's a lot more weight. So I mentioned some early on when there is the reverse elements here in the reverse drum. So that sort of leads us to what we got going on here. We recorded these piano chords and reversed them. And they fill the stops and the gaps really nicely and sort of ramp up into these bigger sections. It's a nice handoff, and choosing to do it with the piano. There's a couple things. There's a few elements going on with the piano. So you've got these little melodic answers in the verses. They got some delay on them. I don't mind. And they kind of go with what Scott is doing on the guitar. And they kind of play off of that a little bit. So we get that sort of very playful piano in the verse playing off Scott's part, and then we use a piano to build to bridge these gaps and ramp up the energy, and then we have these pianos playing these sort of melodic rhythmic things that sort of pair nicely with what Dave is doing on the guitar. And that theme continues on the piano here. They're shorter coming out of the chorus than going into the chorus. And then as the song progresses, we sort of start to introduce some helpers. And then we add some overhead effect. Let's see, what is that? So we needed something that had a little bit more high frequency whoosh to it. So there's an overhead and a kick. And then so they all kind of combine. And then going into the final chorus, penultimate chorus, we've kind of ramped it up here, and I think we've got some electric guitars helping out. With some the way that these guitars are being ramped up is with feedback. It's like a tape delay, and we just suddenly take the feedback and crank it all the way, so it turns into runaway feedback, and then the files have been rendered, and then we just, so what I'm saying is that the feedback would have carried on a little bit past the downbeat, but we've edited them and cut them off so that there's a hard cut there, and so it's a very dramatic downbeat that happens with the chorus, very dramatic shift. Let's just listen to a couple of the other keyboard elements. So in the second chorus, we add a keyboard that hasn't been there. Just keep building the interest and size of the chorus with that part. Let's see, the pad for the verses is brought back in the bridge. And it pairs really nicely with Scott's sort of tremolo, scrubby guitar part that we have here as an overdub. Let's see, what other keyboards have we not really checked out? Okay, so this, in the second half of the chorus, there is a piano guitar double. And actually, that's the same as what we listened to in the first chorus. What the first chorus is actually just the back half of what was written as the choruses. We shortened the first chorus. That was like an arrangement decision to just make it really immediate, hard-hitting, but then go away. Because that dynamic is pretty heavy. So early on in the song, we just kind of wanted to build up to it. So we cut that first chorus in half, and we used the back half of the chorus as the first chorus. Let's backtrack just a little bit here and talk about the vocal. So why are you seeing two files of the vocal? Because in this particular mix, what I use the duplicate for, which is this, is for parallel compression process. I really wanted to have, so this is the vocal track that we're hearing the most of.
I don't think you understand this.
And then there's this one.
I don't think you understand there's a reason I'm on my knees.
And there's a lot of very aggressive compression
All the time that I got
that's being blended in.
give to you. And I don't mind when you use me like you do, yeah. Come on.
So because the compression that's going on with this one it's still going to be substantial, but it's not as aggressive.
I don't think you understand there's a reason I'm on my knees.
It's honoring the dynamic of the voice a little bit more. It's a very dynamic vocal performance, which is great. But so this is just kind of giving it's that really smashed compression feeling, but it's blended in. It's just kind of getting the feeling of loudness up, which we're constantly, unfortunately, striving to figure out ways to do that in modern music. But it's a cool sound. Don't get me wrong; I don't hate on it. It's just it's challenging, and it has its pluses and minuses. Okay, so what's going on with these background vocals? They're arranged pretty similar in a similar fashion for the tune. Let's see if we can get them all to highlight together. Let's see. Let's just make a group for everybody.
Take it away. Take me where you go. You use me like.
So now we'll just dissect it just a little bit. There's some individuals.
Yeah, take it away.
Which is all Scott.
Yeah, take it away.
That's Dave.
Yeah, take it away.
Not sure who that is.
Yeah, take it away.
And that goes to the bass player. And then we got these gangs that sort of answer on the just all the yeahs. And what the size of all that stuff. Now let's listen to it in the context of the chorus. I mean, for as many voices as comprise it's balanced a little bit under. It's totally meant in the way that the way there's the different high vocals and the way they're spread out and the way that the gangs interject. It's really meant to keep the focus on Scott singing the lead vocal, but add a bunch of energy, and it pretty much stays the same for the rest of the song.
Yeah, take it away. Take me where you go. Why do you use me like you do?
And then there's a little interesting thing that happens. Wait, what's going on here?
I believe that I wouldn't do to you like you done to me.
Just a very ambient double, and then here in the instrumental,
Yeah.
just singing like a cool vocal pad against the lead guitar that's going on in the instrumental. And then we just sort of have more of the same, and then here at the end, I think this is,
Do you use me like you do?
it's just kind of a little bit of an ambient double. There's a little bit of a a hey ad lib kind of feeling in here. It's on the lead vocal as well, but it's sort of double it and kind of give it some dimension. And then finally, I think what I'll point out is a couple of things that happen with the guitars. In the third chorus, the way we kind of added interest to the arrangement is we put in these stops. And they're put in spots that really accentuate some vocal lines as well. Was part of the thinking. And then we added a guitar part in the second half of the last chorus just to add something new and dynamic to the arrangement. Cool sort of dissonant descending thing. Which sets up this very end bit that Davers plays, and I'm going to sort of dissect this a little bit because it's a little bit crazy, but it adds this great energy in. I'll sort of show you. We'll get under the hood and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But let's take it from here and listen one more time.
You use me like you do.
Okay, so let's listen to Davers Soul It Up. It's just very inspired, has a lot of great energy, but the tuning was getting away a little bit, and it's also just nature of the way the part works on the guitar and the intonation of the instrument. Some things are a little flat, some things are a little sharp. It's a little bit crazy, but it's cool. So this is the part, the accompanying part, like the companion part that we did. It's not a double. It's almost like an octave. It's more in tune, and so what it does if I turn it off. It sort of helps color this and make it even more interesting because it's playing the same part. It makes, this is a little wonky but cool, but because this is here, it makes this feel more intentional. and this adds dimension to it and just kind of makes it very, very cool. So let's see what's going on with Scott's main part. Just playing like a very cool heavy rhythm that kind of goes with what Crispy's doing on the drums sort of rhythmically, and just makes it feel very heavy and rock, and sort of almost picks up the energy from what this was doing. And then one final thing is to sort of make this last little bit of the guitar here, give its some special reinforcement and make it feel really intentional. We put 2 passes of omnichord spread out, and you'll see. Harmonically just paints in between what these guitars are doing, and just fills it in a little bit with a compatible and interesting sort of approach to playing the changes. So there you go. Hope that was fun for you. It was fun for me to go back through this song, and maybe gives you a little insight into some things that you can use to accentuate your productions and manage your arrangements. More soon.